joined now by the government and Chief Secretary to the Treasury, James Murray. Good morning to you, Mr. Murray.
Hi, good morning.
And I'm not sure how much of that report you just heard there, but we are reflecting 4 years on since the murder of the MP, Sir David Amess, and his daughter there very bravely still calling for a public inquiry. She says the government are not listening to her calls. Why aren't you listening to her? Why aren't you granting her this public inquiry? We can see how topical MP's safety is when we're looking at the man yesterday jailed for 5 years for threatening to kill Nigel Farage.
Yes, so let me start by saying I only just heard the end of the interview just there, but you know, the way in which David Amess died was so utterly shocking for all of us, and I can't begin to imagine how his family must feel. And I think, you know, for them to keep pushing for the answers they want reflects how important that is to them. Now, I know that in terms of having a review, having a further inquiry. The government's position is that we think there have been quite a few reviews which have unearthed information. We're not confident that another review would unearth further information, but we have committed to looking at the information which has come to light throughout all the previous reviews and making sure that we're taking the right positions based on that. But just to reiterate, I think all of us as MPs were shocked, and all of our families were shocked by what happened to Sir David Amess, and my thoughts are really with his family on this day.
But what you're here to talk about this morning is you're not a fan of inquiries in general, and you're backing the builders, not the blockers. Explain to me what you mean by that.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
So what we know in terms of infrastructure in this country is that when decisions are being taken whether to go ahead and build new road infrastructure, new railways, new power stations, they can too often be slowed down through judicial review, through the legal process. And so what we're saying is that we want to shorten that process to speed decisions up. At the moment, a judicial review takes on average about a year and a half. We think we can take at least 6 months off that so the decisions are taken quicker. And that's just the latest thing we're doing to speed up these decisions about getting things built, whether that's the infrastructure we need, whether that's homes across the country, because I think for so many years under the previous government, we talked about building the homes and the infrastructure the country needed, but they didn't get on with it. We're taking the decisions now to get these things built.
The Chancellor has confirmed for the first time this morning that tax rises and spending cuts are coming in the budget on the 26th of November. It means, doesn't it, that the British people are facing a nightmare before Christmas, many already struggling with the cost of living.
Well, look, I know that people across the country are struggling to make ends meet, and for us as a government, that's why it's so important we do everything we can to bring down inflation and to put more money in people's pockets.
And by taxing them more.
The concept that a budget Well, the concept that a budget includes measures in relation to tax and spending is not new. Budgets always reflect on taxation and spending, but what budgets under us also focus on is growth. And we were just talking about growth a second ago in relation to the planning system, because we know that getting greater economic growth in this country is a way to make people better off. And that's why we're so focused on speeding up these planning decisions, getting shovels in the ground, getting infrastructure and homes built, because we know that will make people in every part of the UK have more money in their pockets.
Well, James, it doesn't look as if we're going to have more money in our pockets come Rachel Reeves' budget in November. There you are, you're part of the whole Treasury set up there. It doesn't look good from what she's been saying this morning. You talked about cuts there and taxes, and it looks like she might have to get involved in both.
Well, as I said, budgets always include a reflection of the position on taxation and spending, and for us it also includes growth. And actually on the spending element of what the government is doing, one of my jobs as Chief Secretary to the Treasury is to make sure we keep a tight grip on public spending, that we keep making sure we're making efficiencies, that we're cutting waste, that we're making sure we're spending taxpayers' money wisely and getting value for money for taxpayers. That's one of the things that drives me in this job. I've written to Cabinet colleagues about that to make clear how important that must be to us every day as a government, because we need to make sure we're spending taxpayers' money wisely, and that's a real priority for me and for the rest of the government.
It's a grim picture, though, isn't it? I mean, the headlines this morning: number of jobless hits 4-year high. We're facing the highest inflation in the G7, the worst growth living standards in the West, a black hole of up to 30 billion. And when this is put to the Chancellor, she blames Brexit, she blames austerity, she blames the Tories. Can you admit that any of this mess is the government's fault?
Well, it's also true that the IMF have upgraded our growth forecasts this year. We had the fastest growing economy in the G7 in the first half of this year. But look, we're really clear there's a lot more we need to do. We're really clear there's long-term reasons why our country is in a difficult position, but we're also clear we want to go further and faster to get the economy growing. And to bring it back again to the planning changes I was talking about earlier, getting Britain building is a sure way to boost economic growth and to make people in every part of the country better off.
There are rumours swirling this morning that the Chancellor is rethinking inheritance tax on farms. The speculation is that the threshold for inheritance tax is going to go up. What do you say to that?
No, look, that policy was settled. We announced that at the budget last year. We think the approach that we took was a fair and proportionate approach, where it still allowed owners of assets to have £1 million without being subject to inheritance tax, and then a 50% relief above that level. That was a fair way forward. And look, we're focused on the next budget, not reopening discussions of the past one.
There's also reports in the Telegraph this morning that Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is to miss the NATO defence spending targets. This is from the Public Accounts Committee. They say it's sceptical that this commitment to spend 2.6% of GDP on defence by 2027 is affordable. I mean, that's alarming, isn't it, in the dangerous world that we're living in?
Well, the Chancellor has set out exactly how we're going to pay for our defence commitments, and the Prime Minister has made his commitment to that absolutely clear as well. And ultimately, it's the Chancellor who sets the budget, and she will give an update. She'll give her next budget on November the 26th, making sure that we can meet our pledges, making sure that we can meet our fiscal rules, because our fiscal rules are so important to underpinning that economic stability which we brought to office.
James, got to leave things there. Thanks for your time this morning on a busy day for you. We know James Murray is the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, speaking to us live there from Westminster.